The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, and welcome to All You Serve webinar for September. We're going to give a few more minutes for people to sign on. A bunch of people are coming on right at this moment, so we're going to get started in about 2 minutes, and we will get started. While we're waiting, let me give you some housekeeping tips. If you are putting out tweets out there, hashtag All You Serve webinar or hashtag Food Trends webinar to put information out there if you're doing any tweets. And if you're part of any association, you could do at your, whatever association you are or whatever food service you're with or whatever hospital hashtag, so that you get recognition that you're learning and you're engaging. So again, hashtag All You Serve webinar, hashtag Food Trends webinar, and then at All You Serve or at NASP, whatever you are part of an organization. The other housekeeping tip I'd like to let everyone know is that this presentation and the certificate of participation and the video will be available online at allyouserve.com by Monday, so you'll be able to get all that information and to follow up if you wanted to share it with anyone. Okay? So again, welcome, and we will get started with our webinar today. Again, welcome. Thank you for coming on today and sharing with us your time. My name is Marcia Diamond, and I am a food service business consultant that works with All You Serve to do new business development. And I have today Becky Shinley with me, Content Director for Food Management Magazine. Very honored to have her here. So today we're going to speak about surfing the waves of change in your operation. This is a very hot topic, and seems like everyone doesn't know which kind of surfboard or which kind of standing or sitting or this, if we took the analogy to change. Today we're going to help you surf it. Hopefully you land on your feet. So, what's keeping you up all night? Does that look like you? Is keeping both your patients, your customers, your administrators, your bosses wanting more by embracing your operations with knowledge? That's what you need. You have to have the knowledge to give you powers to succeed. How you choose to ride them is what we're going to help you do today. We're going to share and inform you about food and eating trends to incorporate into your menus, and we're going to give you an understanding of 3 overall operational trends and how they can impact your operation. So to get started, let's talk a little bit about our influencers of these, what's keeping you up all night. So let's start with technology. For example, technology influences you. While technology has been great for advancing equipment capabilities and efficiencies, the result has driven the need for major capital investment when replacing a piece of equipment. In the past, a capital outlay for a piece of equipment would have been $10,000. Today, some of that same replacement fee would be $40,000 due to the need for additional utilities, hookups, programming. So the effect of technology is a plus in some ways for efficiencies and maybe energy, but in some others, the economics. Other things about technology influencers, everyone is Snapchatting, taking pictures. People are using technology to assemble a video, for recipes. So technology has incorporated itself into what you're doing in your operations every day. The old days of just looking at a piece of paper probably are not as efficient, or as a tray card that's on a clip or a piece of paper that says the listings of what diets, are not as efficient as using types of technology, whether it's point of sale, whether it's back of the house, front of the house, mobile devices. Technology is here to stay, but it influences how you run your operation. Wouldn't it be great, wouldn't it be cool, is if you had a customized step-by-step recipe and it was step-by-step in Spanish for People, and it can be translated to your newest cook in that way, and they can prepare the daily specials without having to worry that they're not following a recipe. That'd be pretty cool. That technology is available, and it's becoming more and more available overall for everybody. How about workflows using technology for that, or imagery using technology? Doesn't that influence what people expect food to look like? So again, visual, those kind of things are influencers, and they are affecting the trend. Staffing, that's an influencer because unemployment is lower, and we have a challenge with pay scale, we have a challenge with image, experience. So those are influences of the types of foods you can produce in your environment, and also the types of expectations of staffing. Other influences that are going to affect trends and also changing your operation. Convenience. Everyone wants things readily available, whether it's your retail customers, whether it's your families, whether it's your patients. People want the convenience. The trends of this convenience in our food service world are much broader in the sense that people want food available. Look, Uber delivery, the delivery with, Becky, what's over site, dropping it in,
Uber Eats?
the what?
Uber Eats?
The Uber Eats, and then there's another one. People are dropping. Amazon is using the
They're using drones.
Drones. Thank you very much. So the availability of food service convenience is really what's influencing it. People want it now. If they want it, they experience, they want it now. If they go on to Pinterest and they see a food item, they want it. They don't want to wait to get it. So that affects how people are, what they want, and expectations, and eating trends. I mean, if you see sushi, you expect it no matter if you're in the farthest part of Alaska. Alaska may be easy to get sushi than other parts of the Midwest. But the other things that influence trade is product traceability. And a lot of you may be saying, well, how do we do that? Well, that's where you get with your distributors. Product traceability is so important to the consumer today. They want to know where their food is coming from, what's going on with it. Now, there are many resources. For example, IFT, Institute of Food Technology, has an online resource sheet, and that will give you facts and tips. So IFT Food Facts helps out. There are a bunch of resources for product traceability for types of food. Your distributors should have the ability to give you a product traceability so that you know where your food is coming from for consumers. Because people do, whether you're in college or university specifically, but if you're in the food service, selling food to retail, and patients, they want to know where their food is. It also allows you to minimize any kind of infection control, also any kind of food illness, if you know the product traceability. The other thing is food transparency, whether it's biotech, whether it's where you got it, whether it's local. People want to know that component. They want to know, where is my food coming from? What's ingredients? Is it clean? You've heard the term clean, I'm sure. The idea is, does anyone know what a clean label is? People are shaking their heads. Clean labels are the components of having ingredients that you can read, ingredients that have less chemistry kind of terms and much more. So people are looking at that. So again, those are influencing the types of foods, the kind of recipes you're going to be instituting, and what people's expectations are in that. Health. We hear it on again and again and again, what people's expectations are. They want things to be healthy or halo, meaning it gives you the impression of being better for you. They want lower fat. Doesn't mean they eat it. It's just the influences of what their expectations are when they're looking at. They're looking at more of those 7-grain and ancient grains and those kind of foods infused because they feel that's a healthy halo effect. So those are the things. Local. I hear this a lot about local, what local is. Local can be, depending on what your radius is and what your customer clientele. I mean, obviously local may be flown in. It may be from a different part of the country, but it's flown in, so it becomes much more of a local cuisine for you, what you do to it. But those terminology influence definitely expectations. Another influencer is revenue. Obviously, what you have to spend and what things cost influence the types of menu items, the type of operations you can run, and how you're going to be effective in your operation. Sustainability. Hot topic. Hot topic. Why? Because people are looking. Sustainability, defining sustainability is a challenge because we have not become with a consistent definition. Sustainability could be sustainability when it comes to food. It could be sustainability when it comes to energy. It can become sustainability in terms of a menu, sustaining over time. So sustainability influencers, people that are really involved in sustainability, waste. So those influences are going to affect your operation. What do we mean by waste? Well, you're going to look at recipes. You're going to look at the products you're getting in the form you're getting them in, how much cutting waste you have. Are you using the fruit and vegetables that you're getting in, for example, or if they're an ugly fruit, quote unquote, are you not using it? Those things will influence you on what you're doing. And you should be using those fruits and vegetables if you use them and sustain it. You may use it in a soup if it's not coming in as pretty in something that you're using in a whole. But again, that sustainability is going to influence where you drive your menu items. Another influencer is generation. Now, we hear a lot about the millennials. It's so much like millennial. Now, people that are millennial in the audience, it's like millennial overthrow. But we have to realize that the biggest or the most vocal generation is the millennials and Generation Z that'll be coming up. Because today, they're expecting any type of cuisine. Anything, from Thai to vegan to Middle East, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter their budget, doesn't matter. They expect international. Years ago, in my age, and more seasoned, cafeterias might have had an international day. Now the expectation is that every day you have something international. They expect customization. They expect convenience and availability. They want that food. They expect it to be there on a patient menu, on a retail menu. They think clean and transparent. They do. Fresh, healthy, organic options. They want the word option. Remember, they may eat the French fries, but if it's an organic potato, it's even better. They want mix and match. They want mix and match options. They use technology. We talked about technology influencers. If they're coming into your cafeteria or they're coming down to eat, they want to maybe pre-order. They want to be able to pre-order a customized. They don't want to wait down to get something customized for them. And they like interactive. So if you want to speed the lines, if you want to do this, visuals, lots of visuals that are interactive in these environments. That's why with patients, now we're going back to something I remember in the 70s and 80s, more interactive at the bedside. Again, I know that we're talking about millennials and Generation Z, but a lot of the, maybe not so much the people that are retired today, but the baby boomers are right behind them. Not everyone knows how to use it as efficiently, but they're right behind them on expectations as far as clean food, mix and match. And remember, when I grew up, you didn't have, again, it was more that international food day. Now it's just not like that. The expectations are certainly there. And the other thing is I want to mention what influences food and what influences food service is cultural diversity. And cultural diversity is as simply as I can define it, is diverse or different cultures as opposed to a monoculture. It's not an homogeneous of cultures. It's different culture diversities, everything from sexual orientation, ethnic, racial, gender, socioeconomic. And so we have to be inclusion of that in our food types, in our recipes, in our menus, and make things not a melting pot, but more of a stir fry, more identifiable. And that's when I come to talking about not just having an International Food Day, but having every day be something, inclusion of it. So that's what I want to mention about the influences. And I know you may have questions, jot them down. So also, I want to go back to one thing I didn't mention. We talked about technology. I didn't talk about training with technology. And those are really big when it comes to operational equipment challenges. How do you train people, the amount of time that you have to train them on compliances, on equipment, on patient satisfaction? How do you do that? You know, it takes more, the more regulations, it takes more time. So one of the things that people like, and as you get to that generational thing, is mobile ongoing training, using types of mobile devices to have ongoing training instead of bringing everyone together after hours or during hours and let's go through this. And you have that mobile training with a quick quiz so that people can then engage. And you have very specialized training so that you can train your chefs, your cooks, your line supervisors, your retail people, your cashiers very differently. Some topics are the same, some very specialized. Using technology will allow you to have those capabilities. So that is an influencer in the future on how you will use that and how you will gain momentum and be able to serve that way. Some food trends that I think are around and need to be aware of is discarded to delicious. If you look on the right side, you see that menu, that bowl, most people would have thrown it out because you have peels and all kinds of things. What they did is they took some of those peels, which are really good, and made a great salad. So one of the food trends is using things like the ugly fruit, quote unquote, discarded to delicious type of items, and how do you incorporate it into food? Maybe it's a soup, maybe it's a salad. This looks great. Maybe it's into its pureed shake, or maybe it's in a smoothie, or it's in a dressing, salad dressing. Be creative and try to put that to the point of gaining that, using that food, again, sustainability. Remember the things we just spoke about, the influences, sustainability, cost, controlling, and yet making something beautiful. The other thing that's a big hot topic is sliders. Every type of slider you see now, from a fish slider to a beef slider to a vegan slider, sliders, they're hot. What's nice about sliders is that you can make small portions. So that means if you want a smaller portion, someone's able to get it. It's also great to use sliders for kids. You don't have to make a separate kids menu. Trends being sliders allows diversity. Also, the sliders allow you to use, maybe offer options of different ethnic cuisines on one slider plate. So it gives you a lot more flexibility and variety. The other thing that's real hot is heat. Spicy heat. You know, we talk about sriracha and we talk about red pepper sauces, and people want a little bit of kick offering it. Now, many of you say, well, we're in this kind of environment, we can't. Why not? If it's not against any kind of dietary order and it doesn't affect any intestinal thing, why not offer, instead of just salt and pepper, maybe some kind of sriracha little packet, instead of just ketchup packets, but those kind of packets, so again, infuse the food. The other thing that's really, really hot is pillow talk. Now, we're not talking about the pillow talk some of you are thinking about. I'm talking about using everything from wonton noodle shells to phyllo doughs, stuffing them. People like that with vegan and meat and you know, salads. However you want to do it, people like the ease, the convenience of grabbing it, the flexibility, and again, you can bake them or you can fry them. I can see some of the purists going, oh, we can't fry it. Well, then you bake them. But what's great? That looks delicious. The other thing, another hot trend is obviously vegetable center plate. Many restaurants are cropping up all over, just totally being vegetable center plate. There's such a variety of vegetables that you can do. You know, years ago, about 15 years ago, the portobello mushroom came out and it became center plate, and And, you know, and that was fabulous, and they're doing great things with it. But there are so many other vegetables that can become center plate, like cauliflower steaks. And there are so many things you can do to make it interesting using spice, using something hot, putting it inside of, you know, one of the pillows, and making it much more that people are grabbing it for the convenience, for the availability, for the taste. Those food trends are here, and they will progress into 2017. And what we're telling you today are the trends that are going on and continuing. The other thing is guests are looking for a multifaceted, unique experience. They are looking for authentic culinary experiences. No matter where you are, whether you're in a diner, I'm in the Northeast, so lots of diners there, whether you're in a cafeteria, whether you're in a student union building, whether you're in a retail venue, a hospital restaurant, or even on your patient menu. They are looking for this experience, and I know people say, well, we have so many regulations. That whole experience, with from food to tray to how it's presented, is that experience. The trend is here to stay, using technology, using different culinary types of food, and some adventurous things, you know, pickling and smoking, and people are probably, but there are lots of ways you can infuse some of that stuff to get that experience and definitely gain some of your clients. The other thing is I got to say brunch. Okay, now I know people are like totally saying, has she lost her mind? I haven't. Brunch in a healthcare, it's a trend. Brunch, if you're in the food service restaurant industry or in a university, brunch is gaining momentum. People aren't waking up, especially on the weekend, before that. And so brunch has become a very big ticket item. Also the convenience of it, the availability, more diversified of types of food items. You can do something that you normally don't do. On a brunch, it's special, and you can. So in a hospital, I know you can't just not feed your patients breakfast, but if it's a restaurant, a room service style menu, some people don't order first thing in the morning. They order a little later, and so it can be that brunch menu. In a hospital cafeteria, it'd be nice to have a little bit of change of less staff usually offer a brunch type of menu to give some diversity and some interest and some definitely some option. The bigger the better that you can do, the more you will get in return on your investment, the more loyalty will come back to you, and the more retail oriented your facility will become known as. Start considering those kind of things. Don't say you can't, say how can I do it? The other thing is options. Everyone wants options, like I just mentioned to you, the variety. The other thing is tapas. Tapas we heard years ago. You know, someone once told me, that, and I know that I told Becky this story, someone once told me probably about in the early 90s, we're going to a tapas restaurant. I didn't want to say anything, but I thought it was a topless restaurant, and I was a little concerned. Fast forward, I realized there was nobody topless. It was small portions. So tapas is now obviously very mainstream. It's small portions, shareable selections from a wide range of cuisines. It provides you flexibility. It gives people the ability to try. It gives your children kids menus to be eliminated. You don't have to have Mickey Mouse on your menu, which is a hamburger and French fries. You can have small sliders, small shareable things, and they can have maybe a sweet potato mashed potato with it. It allows you the option. Think tapas in your retail venue. The other thing I want you to consider for trends is fusion food. Again, cross-cultural cuisine. Cross-cultural cuisine. Just as our melting pot of citizens is what makes us all Americans, just as our melting pot of citizens is what makes us all Americans, the cuisines we brought with us are what we have led to the cuisine today called New America. New America. How about mashups? Nacho lasagna, noodle ethnic bars, steak and eggs with shishito peppers, two poached eggs with pesto and Vermont cheddar. Just shake it up. Think about Cuban cuisine, multicultural, new flavor opportunities. The other thing trends are customization. The generational millennials are cultural conscious. They want to choose and pick. Give options, those kind of things. Day parts. Going back, day parts, if anyone doesn't know what a day part is in between your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner are part of your day part, but there are lots more meals that people are eating. Are you taking advantage of that? They're small meals. They're meal replacements. They drive traffic and sales. Instead of just giving a granola bar and a cup of coffee in the afternoon, they drive meals. Think about being that tapas. Think about that opportunity. The other thing is, snacking means different things to different people. For a lot of people, the day part is their snack, which is not just a cookie or a granola bar. It is a mini meal. The other thing is bowls. Bowls are hot. Look at the right side of that. It's convenient. It's easy to eat. There's salad bowls, things in a cup. Those are the kind of things people are looking for, those trends. The other thing is noodle bars, all those kind of things is what different variety of noodle bars and that. So you can see the noodle burger. Instead of using bread, you have the noodle burger. So those kind of things are that noodle burger is very interesting, very different kind of cuisine in that sense. The other thing is people are using radishes and basil and herbs as part of the dish recipe, not just as a garnish, but making them part of the dish recipe and driving traffic as well. Other things, on the right-hand side, you see something like it looks like a little, it's called, it's an outrageous, it's an action station concept where customers engage with their chefs while they watch. That's pan-seared steel-cut oatmeal. That's pan-seared steel-cut oatmeal, and they did it in an action station. You know how we always have eggs action stations or brunch? Here's an ability to use oatmeal as an action station, and it was called Outrageous. One of the universities did that, and I thought that was a great thing to do in a cafeteria, not the traditional just oatmeal in a container. And now I'm going to, and a few other trends I just wanted to say before I pass it over to Becky, some trends to be aware of. Tea. All kinds of tea variety. People are into flavored teas and infusion teas. Make sure you get on the bandwagon with that. And also green. All kinds of different green, whether it's the stem or root cooking, incorporate that because that's part of the, again, sustainable trends of that. Now I'm going to hand it over to Becky to give you some more ideas on how to surf the waves.
Great, thank you, Marcia. As Marcia said earlier, I am the editor-in-chief of Food Management Magazine. So we cover all of the different segments of the on-site or non-commercial industry. So healthcare is one of those big ones, but we're also big believers in you can learn from everyone, even if it's outside of your traditional space. So I'll be sharing a lot of different ideas and concepts that we see that aren't necessarily from a healthcare organization, but they could certainly be implemented into your hospital or your facility. So this is a quick look at who your customer is. So Data Central did a survey and they asked more than 1,000 consumers what they wanted to try in a hospital dining or cafeteria concept. And so you can see that healthy items were at the top of this list. 91% said fresh fruits and vegetables, salad bars, healthy menu items were all on here. Smoothies were at 77%. Organic options were a little bit down at the bottom, 62%, but that's still a pretty high percentage of customers who said that they wanted to see that. And then 90% of customers said having food made to order or freshly made food was important to them when choosing a hospital. And this was the top ranked item in terms of food service. And then next, we'll look at who your potential future customers could be. So college students are very vocal. They make a lot of decisions. They drive a lot of the trends of what's happening in the food industry. So Data Central also asked more than 1,000 college students how appealing certain types of food were. So you can again see that healthy options was the highest ranked, followed closely by new foods and flavors. And again, you see here 74% of students said they prefer build your own options. So what are you doing in your operation to meet those needs? So then next we'll move on to some specific things that operators are doing. And hospitals have come a little bit under fire for having QSRs or fast food because it's seen as unhealthy. So what can you do maybe besides that? So certain operations have replaced national brands with house-made brands. So the first one, this is Tulane University in New Orleans, and they opened a sandwich account called Pickles, and it replaced a national sandwich account with a house brand. They realized that more than a third of their students were from the Northeast, so they created a New York-style deli to bring in that appeal from home. And menu items are modeled on a New York deli classics, and then they also have some pretty distinctly New Orleans creations as well. And then the University of Connecticut, they opened a QSR to replace a Wendy's, and it's called One Plate, Two Plates. And One Plate, Two Plate focuses on local, organic, and vegan and gluten-free options. And then I challenge you to think about retail in unlikely places, because it could be a great opportunity for you to get a little bit more revenue in places where you don't think that it would be. So BYU wanted to extend their catering. So they do more than $1 million in catering every year. If you've ever tried to get onto a college campus and park, it is nearly impossible. So what they did was they found an abandoned bank. It's about a mile off campus. It's in a residential area. It's also in a food desert, so there aren't a lot of grocery stores or grocery options around them. So they took over the bank and they opened up a catering depot. So they're not actually cooking there. They're cooking the food on campus and shipping it out. But it's a really easy place for people to come by and pick up their orders. And then what they did in the lobby area is they turned that into a retail location, and they're serving a lot of their BYU creamery items. And again, because it's in a food desert, they have the milks and the breads. So easy things that you can pick up if you're on your way home from work. And then UT Dallas, they opened an Einstein Brothers Bagels and an IHOP Express in the campus parking lot. They get about 4,500 transactions a week. There's also a nice patio there, so it's for those who don't want to just grab something and run to class, but they can sit down and enjoy the experience. And that IHOP Express is also a late night option. It stays open until 1 a.m. So the next trend that I talk about is integrating teaching, which is something that many hospitals are doing with their dietitians and their chefs. And these are some examples that colleges and universities have done. So Stanford partnered with Jamie Oliver, and they launched a program called Cook Smart. And the goal is to teach even the most inexperienced student how to make a healthy meal from scratch. And they're instilling basic kitchen skills and food skills in a fun and engaging way. These are free classes for the students. They're 9 weeks, 8 students in each class. They also teach nutritional education at the same time, and 24 students took the inaugural class in this past fall session. And then on the right is University of California, Santa Barbara, and they started a program called the Food Nutrition and Basic Skills Program, which teaches students skills from purchasing through preparation. Purchasing on a budget is one of the big components that they follow, or that they teach. The funding for this program came from UC Global Food Initiative, which is a program to help combat food insecurity on campus. And what UC Santa Barbara found was that their students really needed help purchasing and cooking healthy meals for themselves. Next slide, please, Marcia.
Hey, Becky, I wanted to
Yes.
say one thing about these initiatives. Funding is available to allow for, depending on where your hospital is, for communities, also for culinary medicine, and those ideas of using training not only for students and for your workers, your staffers, but also for your doctors to incorporate some of that. So the display cooking, the things from display cooking to action stations to incorporating that is something that there is funding out there to do that. Again, a lot of hospitals are integrated with the community, and it's not only about the illness, it's about the wellness. And so the component of doing that, what they've done, is really something that will extend upon that. The other thing is, when we talk about long-term care, teaching cooking, even though a lot of these people have cooked all their life, or engaging in cooking programs actually allows them to actually get more stimulated from the cognitive point of view and also helps quality of life. So think about those components, not only being able to do that, but some interactive stuff, some things that could work with you, or some things that you are preparing for them in front to stimulate the senses, the 5 senses, which allows them to eat more. Again, when people see food being made, it allows more stimuli in that. So incorporating teaching is fabulous because, like many of you who are seasoned, you had home economics and you had cooking courses. Today people don't really have that, and so the Cooking Network has taken over a lot of that, good or bad or indifferent if you feel that way. But here's an idea to make change, and there are funding out there for this kind of stuff.
That's great. Thank you. Here's a couple of examples from hospitals. So Truman Medical Center in Kansas City, they really kind of took what Marcia was talking about and ran with it. So they created a cafe and demonstration kitchen in a renovated retail space. This is actually on a patient floor, so it's not hidden somewhere in a basement, but it's really there, so you're kind of getting the sights, sounds, and smells that Marcia was talking about. So at Truman, they wanted to use food service as a way to help in the healing process, particularly for diabetes, congestive heart failure, and cardiovascular diseases. So it's a retail space that's open for breakfast and lunch, and it serves healthy items. And then after lunch, it turns into a demonstration and educational kitchen for both patients and the community, as well as their doctors. Right now, it's 1 class per week, but they're hoping to expand that when they move into the 2nd phase this fall. In the middle is Boston Children's, and they started a station in their cafe that's called the Chef's Playground, and it hosts things like a Parents' Night Out or Young Chef Culinary Academy or during slow times. And then the University of Massachusetts, they started asking students to make one pledge once a week to make some kind of a change in their behavior that results in better health or wellness for themselves or the community. So that could be, I pledge to use less energy, I pledge to create less waste, or I just pledge to eat healthier. The station where the pledge is being asked for is also offering a special plated meal, and it follows those health and sustainability missions set forth by the college. This was another thing that Marcia hit on, integrating the community. This is really big in hospitals right now. A lot of times you guys are the largest employer in your community, so what are you doing to be more than just the place where people go when they're sick? So this is Barnes Jewish Medical Center, and it is in St. Louis. This is their hospital cafe. They had opened it originally in a different format and concept. It was more of a food hall, if you think like an Eataly. And then they realized that it wasn't meeting the needs that they wanted, and their goal was to really be this community, this neighborhood hangout. And so they revamped it from that food hall kind of feel to a more of what you'd see in a traditional sit-down restaurant. So there's the bar there. They do a lot of local pairings with wine and beer. And then there's tables throughout that you can go to. And every Monday is a industry night, so they bring in chefs to help them create new menu items, and it's really become a really cool place for the community to come and eat. One thing I will note about this is that the entrance to that cafeteria is on the outside of the hospital, so it's not one of those you have to go down this hall, make 2 lefts, and then go down another staircase. So it really does have that outside entrance, which helps makes that that community neighborhood spot. Childhood hunger is a big thing. You hear it a lot with schools and their food service programs, but hospitals are also really becoming aware and doing a lot for it. So Arkansas Children's, this started with one of their doctors, and he said, I'm seeing a lot of food insecurity in our patients, and obviously if there's food insecurity in the patients, the likelihood of a readmission is higher. And so he wanted to do something. So he worked with the food service program, and they started a free bag meal program. The hospital actually eats the cost of this. They said it was about $1.40 to produce the bags, but they felt like it was a community service and something they wanted to take on. You can see in the right picture with the orange shirts on, they didn't hire more staff to assemble these bags. They get a lot of high school volunteers, people looking for service hours to help assemble the bags. It's already product that they have on hand that they're serving. So the doctors are tagged to ask their patients upon input certain questions to kind of suss out if they are food insecure or not. And then if they feel like they are, they mention, hey, why don't you go down to the cafeteria? You can get a free bag meal for lunch, or they also have sometimes a station set up in the lobby. And then Presbyterian Health, they have 3 different hospitals in their system that are offering an after-school lunch program. It's based off of the USDA's summer meals program for schools, so they are being reimbursed by the USDA for all these meals. The students can come in after class into the hospital. They get a free meal. They get some like educational time, and it's a really good service that they're offering to that community. So these are some different service ideas that have come out. That left one looks a little bit funky, but it is an ATM, and it is serving pizzas. So you can go there, and Xavier opened this pizza ATM this fall. It's open 24/7. So the pizzas are the same pizzas that are served at a nearby dining hall. And what happens is the staff par bakes the pizzas and then transports them to the machines. The students order them. When the student orders it from the ATM, it's baked, and it takes about 3 minutes. There's about 4 different options that the students can have, and the machine can hold up to 70 pizzas at a time. In the middle is Kent State, and you've probably heard this in the news. They just opened the first ever gluten-free dining hall. Every option there is gluten-free. They really wanted to be able to offer a safe dining environment for those students. And then on the right is Greeley-Evans. This is a school district in Colorado, and Marcia talked about it earlier. Hot sauce is hot, and so they really wanted to create their own branded hot sauce. So they worked with a local chili producer, and they are now doing that. They brand it, they bottle it themselves. Some more service ideas. The left is Wexner Medical Center. They are doing touchscreen kiosks, so they're outside of the cafeteria. You can order the different options that you want, and then you pay and you go and you pick it up. It's really helped to alleviate some of the lines and the congestion, and it also helps in that instance when somebody wants to upsell something. In the middle is Colby University, and they wanted to do a smoothie bar, but they didn't have the staffing to put behind it. So what they did instead was they bought some blenders. They sell cups for $15 that are branded. They will wash them for you, then give them back to you. And you basically walk around the dining hall. You pick the different items that you want to put in it, from the fruit and vegetable salad bar. Then you put in whatever base you want, and you mix it yourself. And they've seen really good purchases from this. They've had 715 cups purchased. They say they get about 315 of these do-it-yourself smoothies each day in the 2 dining halls. And then Ashland University started a little bit of a Fresh Direct, if you're familiar with that. So it's online ordering of groceries. They said we have a lot of these staples items, the milk, the breads, the cheese. We have that on staff already, or in our content already. So can we offer this as an additional service to our students? They can go online, they can order what they want, and then they can either pick it up at one of the dining halls or it's delivered to them.
Becky, thank you. Thank you. One of the things that if you remember, she talked about the students, but if you go back a little bit to the influencers, you'll find that why can't we do that for our staff? Why can't we do that for our families that are perhaps can't leave? There are many hospitals that have those kind of, depending on how big the university hospital is, or how big the medical center is, or how big the assisted living, they may have some of those components. But again, back in the day of home replacement, we did some of those meal components. People want the convenience. That's why with Blue Apron and all these kind of things, why not offer some of these service options as an opportunity for revenue and also loyalty and customer satisfaction? In addition, some of those other things, such as the yogurt, is perfect what we talk about customization. People want you not to give them what you have available, but they want to make up what they need available. So how do you learn more about mix and match, whether it's university or whether it's learning about cultural diversity in your hospital? You go to, one of the things I always recommend is going to other food service market segment shows to see more what they're doing. Listen, read, obviously, magazines, food management. but expose yourself to cultural events. If you're in an area where there's a lot of Hispanics, go to one of the Hispanic events, see what people are consuming, and see how you can bridge that. You know, those are the kind of things that you want to start to grow and continue to grow from that component. The other thing is, I think knowledge is a great thing. If you go back, these slides will be available. If you go back, you will see some of those influences and see how you can attribute them to changes, or attribute them to positive changes, or attribute them to altering some of the things that you already do that can be better done. You know, we talked about, you know, allergen-free, you know, using allergen-free equipment, and talking about Kent, and we talked about Action Station and display cooking. You know, those kind of things, you need the right equipment to do that, and so the right people to work with you to get that done. Those are really, really crucial things to hit. If you don't have the right people, obviously you can't really do that. I want to open it up to questions now. Hopefully we've given you some food and eating trends, and we've given you some 3 operational trends and how they can impact your operation. We've given you more, I'm sure, between Becky and I. If the screen never changed for you, it should have changed. If it didn't change for you, you will be able to have the PowerPoint. That may be your computer, and the PowerPoint will be incorporated, available on Monday on allyouserve.com. One final thought I would like to leave with you is that look back at what your influences are in your environment and compare them to the influences are on our influences list. Take away a couple of ideas of what you can change and incorporate as you move ahead from that perspective. Becky, would you like to add anything?
No, I guess my challenge to you guys is what's next for you, and how can you take some of these trends and things that we showed you and implement into your operations, and what's next for you guys, because we're always loving to hear what the innovation is out there and in the next forefront for everything that's happening.
And I know there's many challenges, whether it comes from staffing, whether it comes from operational costs, regulations. You know, many of those seem to get more and more, those regulations, and I know it's tougher and tougher, but we still all want to do an exceptional experience for our staff, for our internal employees, and our external customers. So the idea is to incorporate some of these things, especially the fusion, especially the types of foods, the types of varieties. And we, you know, Becky and I would solicit any questions you have and send to us, and we'd be more than happy to help you. Oh, one quick question before we, smoothie bars were very interesting. How are the blenders cleaned in between? Do the students wash them, or does the staff? Becky?
That is a good question. I am not sure about that. I know they have more than one. So my guess is that there's somebody who is monitoring that as they're walking around the station. I don't believe that the students are cleaning it themselves, but I will find that out. Good question.
Okay. And someone asked about, and I'm going to backtrack so we can give you, someone asked about the day parts and how and what ideas people are doing out there. So people, again, on the survey that'll be coming, there'll be questions about what are you doing as far as innovation. People ask, how are you generating revenue and how are you increasing your day part loyalty besides having a granola bar or a bag of pretzels. So please put those ideas out, and we will share that with everybody who's on the list, and we will get that out to everybody. You know, if you have a great idea, hey, Becky may feature you, so you never know on that. But again, these kind of things, the customizations, the day parts, the bowls, what foods can you put in a bowl so people can take away easily? You know, we know soup, obviously, but, you know, again, the cereal bowl on the top, which is a very different type of cereal. We know yogurt's on a bowl, but what else can you put in a bowl? Noodles in a bowl, any of the grains in a bowl with some protein, so to make it easy and convenient. Instead of bread, noodles or rice noodles for a gluten-free diet. That's perfect. You know, obviously it's made in a gluten-free equipment, etc. But again, the right Look at your brunch menus. Look at ways to incorporate that. And the other thing is look at ways you can do oatmeal. We always have egg bars, which is great, but how about an oatmeal? And again, getting away from just a dish soup of oatmeal. How do you make it different? How do you make it interesting? So thank you again for joining us today, and I want to thank Olistar for sponsoring this webinar and allowing us to share some of ideas and creativity so that you're able to surface a little bit better. So thank you all, and if any other questions, please get to me. Oh, please get to me. I know a couple people just sent a couple of questions, and we will get back to those with you thereafter. All right? Thanks again. Have a great afternoon. Again, the PowerPoint will be available, and the video, the audio, and the certificate of participation on olistar.com on Monday. And please fill out the survey after so we can make these programs, get some information about what innovation, and make better programs for you. So education is the key. If you know more, it could be more, it could be better. Thank you. Have a great day.